So Patrick Bet-David had that interview with Benjamin Netanyahu and didn't push back, which is interesting considering this story right here. Israel bombed a hospital twice, killing journalists and civilians. Now they are trying to say that, oops, it was a mistake. Well, we've heard that before. Let's go ahead and get into it, folks. This is the story that a lot of people are calling out, including corporate media.
Back now with the latest in the escalating violence in the Middle East. This morning, an Israeli airstrike hit the main hospital in southern Gaza, killing at least 15 people, including several journalists, according to health officials. For more, let's bring in NBC News international correspondent Molly Hunter, who's in Jerusalem with the latest on this. So, Molly, let's start with the attack on that hospital, if we can. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Aaron, I'll walk you through what we know, and this is a fast-moving story, and I actually have an update already to the numbers that you just gave. We now know at least 20 people were killed in this pair of attacks, including 5 journalists. But it happened around 10 a.m., local time. The first Israeli drone strike hit the side of Nasser Hospital. Aaron, as you mentioned, it is the biggest, only functioning hospital in the south. But it hit a staircase, and this is important, Aaron, because this staircase was where journalists, since the early days of the war, have gathered to get Wi-Fi signals. So as journalists have also been displaced, as well as kind of average Palestinian citizens in Gaza, they have flocked to hospitals to use not only kind of the connection, the power, the water, the resources available there. So this staircase in particular, though, Aaron, is someplace that we've seen on social media of journalists waving their phones in the sky, kind of trying to get signal, huddled late night over their laptops, trying to get the images from Gaza out to the rest of the world. Well, minutes after the first Israeli drone strike, as first responders were racing up to that area, as other journalists were going to cover the event, another Israeli drone strike hit the exact same spot. Now, at least 20 people, as I mentioned, including 5 journalists. Aaron, I'm just going to share with you their names. It was Hossam Al-Masri, who worked with Reuters, Mariam Abu Daqqa, who worked for the AP, Mohammed Salama, who worked with Al Jazeera, Moaz Abu Taha, and Ahmed Abu Aziz. Just for some context for our audience, 245 journalists have died since October 7th. These are our peers, our colleagues, people who've been working tirelessly, Aaron, for the last 22 months to cover what's been happening in Gaza.
But here's the thing. We said this in 2024, and we said this towards the end of 2023 that they were killing the journalists. Now you're starting to hear corporate media cover it more. Like I said, now it's harder for them to ignore it. It appears they got the green light that it's okay to call these things out now. In the images that were shown, and we can't show the full thing because of YouTube, but in the images that were shown, you could see them standing on the stairs right before they were hit. It was a direct hit. Don't forget, Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel has the sharpest, brightest form of intelligence. They know what they are hitting. That was a direct target going after those journalists, and they've been doing it. And it's just interesting. Now, all of a sudden, they want to talk about it. But when we were calling it out, people were saying we were exaggerating. We didn't know what we were talking about. Now they have no choice. They have to cover it because everybody has acknowledged the famine, because the videos continue. Here we are 2 years later, and they're still killing journalists as well as children and women, etc.
And to make a record of history and shed some light on exactly what's happening on the ground there, we appreciate the sacrifice that they made. Molly, as it relates to these journalists, has the Israeli military responded at this point?
They have, a couple hours later, a very, very short statement, just a couple of lines. They have confirmed that there was an Israeli strike in the area of Nasser Hospital. They've also said that they have launched an immediate inquiry. You see that full statement up on your screen, and we will be pressing them for more answers.
We thank you for.
So let's get to what the IDF said about that strike on Nasser Hospital. Let me go ahead and show you here. I also thought it was interesting. Even Sky News, which is conservative and has been defending Israel, even Sky News covered it. See, this is what I was talking about. Now it's like, they all got the green light. It's okay to talk about it now.
Before we upsum that news conference, let me bring you some breaking news coming into us from the office of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And this relates to that double attack on Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza earlier on today. This is the statement from Netanyahu's office. It says, Israel deeply regrets the tragic mishap that occurred today at the Nasser Hospital in Gaza. Israel values the work of journalists, medical staff, and all civilians. The military authorities are conducting a thorough investigation. Our war is with Hamas terrorists. Our just goals are defeating Hamas and bringing our hostages home. So that statement coming into us about a few minutes ago from the office of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin
Netanyahu. So this is not the first time that they have come forward and they have said, we regret this, or it was a mistake, or that was an accident. We didn't mean to do it. Like I said, you have to look for it on social media because it has been circulating around on X, and you will see it for yourself. The video where the journalists are standing on the stairs, and it's right before they strike them. It was a direct hit. It is very clear who they were because they have on the vest, and it was a direct hit on those journalists. So again, when these things are called out by the media, Israel just does what they usually do when they just say, well, it was a mistake, or we're sorry for the loss of this, or our war is only with Hamas. If your war is only with Hamas, you wouldn't be killing kids. You wouldn't be starving these damn kids. You wouldn't have people throwing away the food and the aid. That is a blatant lie. These people are liars. And this is why I continue to say, and I will drive this all the way home, when I say, no, do not engage with them. You are helping them spread the propaganda when you do that. This is why I say no. So even Sky News had to report it. It has come to this. The people can't even protect Israel anymore because they're just so out in the open with it. And I want you to see the journalists here. Of course, they're saying Benjamin Netanyahu has said he regrets. Yeah, they don't regret a damn thing. Here's some of the journalists that were killed. Again, identifiable vests that say press. They stand out. It's very obvious. Here's another one. This is Miriam Daga. She was killed by Israel Today, was an incredibly talented photographer. She relentlessly and courageously documented the genocide. I'm going to share some of her images. We're not going to show the graphic one, of course. But another one, she was killed. And for people wondering, again, these are journalists that worked for Associated Press, Reuters, Al Jazeera. And it shouldn't even matter who they worked for, but what are these organizations going to do? What do they do? When you have a president that is sanctioning the ICC for even like trying to go after Israel, what are you going to do? Nobody ever held them accountable. Now, here's the interesting part. Even on Morning Joe, they had to talk about this. And I just think it's hilarious because them of all people, when this was happening under Biden's presidency, they were also running cover for Israel. We covered it on the show multiple times. They were also there to make sure that Israel was protected. And now they're trying to sing a different tune. Listen to this.
There's no need for this war to continue. There is no reason. There are no more our military objectives to reach. There are no more intelligence objectives that we can reach. It's a law of diminishing returns. And yet this continues. Journalists continue to be shut out of this area, international journalists. So people that will defend Israel no matter what Israel does can say, oh, well, those are just, reports from Hamas, or those are just reports from, quote, health officials. No, they're not.
No, Joe, you did it too. See, we're not going to sit back here and pretend as though their hands are clean. Because I have a really good memory, and I think a lot of you guys do too. Let's remember, Joe and Mika sat right there at those desks in 2024 and even towards the end of 2023, and they were defending what Israel was doing. They were also one of the shows that criticized the pro-Palestinian protesters. They brought on Eric Adams to congratulate him for sending the police after the pro-Palestine protesters. They called the pro-Palestinian protesters names. And I guess now all of a sudden that this is happening under the Trump administration, now they got the green light that they can switch their gears. And now it's like, okay, we can call Israel out. Plus, don't forget that MSNBC was just dropped by Comcast. And now they're supposed to be becoming MS Now. So they're already heading that direction. So I think this was their way of showing, look, we might be becoming independent. We're going that way. They're not really going to be independent. But that's what they're saying. So no, we don't forget. We don't forget. You guys sat up there and defended Israel too. You guys sat up there and you ran cover for them time and time again when the rest of us in independent media were calling out the BS and telling people the truth about what Israel was doing. So you don't get to sit there, Joe and Mika, and just wash your hands. You are a part of it. They are guilty as well because they continue to spread that same propaganda. You were doing the master's work. That's exactly what you were doing. They kill me with this.
There are reports from the International Red Cross, from the United Nations, from other organizations, Doctors Without Borders, other organizations that have been allowed in there. And yet here you have people that were working on the ground because the IDF and Israel, Netanyahu's government, are barring the press from going into Gaza. And this happens.
Joe, in addition to the enormous human tragedy that we're talking about right now and that occurred just a couple of days ago, this is a tragedy for Israel as a whole.
Yes, it is.
A global tragedy for Israel. Israel needs friends. It has always needed friends. But under Bibi Netanyahu and the conduct of the IDF in waging this war against Hamas, Israel is winning no friends. It's losing friends rapidly. And the idea that the IDF is continuing to wage war against Hamas under the goal of, as Bibi Netanyahu has pointed out, eliminating Hamas. You're never going to eliminate Hamas. It's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because of the constant warfare against Hamas in Gaza. You've earned another generation's contempt of Palestinians toward Israel.
Beyond.
Pause. The reason why you're never going to get rid of Hamas is because of the occupation and the brutality that Israel has committed towards the Palestinian people. That's why. Hamas didn't start after October 7th. And don't forget that Benjamin Netanyahu funded Hamas. You know, people forget this sometimes. So there's no turning back from this. That's why Israel's response, they're like, oh, we just got to let's just get rid of all of them. But even then, you don't remove the ideology. The world has seen you for who you are and what you are. The world knows what Israel is. There's no coming back. You know, it's kind of hard to forget a genocide. So there's no coming back from that for Israel. Now they feel that their only way of doing this, and this is why Benjamin Netanyahu is going on those podcast tours, is by going on to different shows and saying, well, look, we're nice people. We only just want Hamas out. We're not trying to hurt anybody else. It's too late for that. It's too late. And I believe, and I'm going to keep it real. Let's talk about this for a second. I believe some of these people are being paid to do it. I believe that some of these podcasts that are bringing Benjamin Netanyahu on, trying to run cover for Israel, I believe some of them are being paid. That's just how I see it.
Beyond contempt. And you talk about losing an entire generation, Jonathan, a generation of American support is being lost. This is not, that people can't say, oh, this anti-Semitism, oh, this because people hate Israel. No, America has been Israel's steadfast ally. You look at the data, the strong data, and look and see what's happened. And those numbers are changing dramatically every day. Older people like us, I'll just speak for myself. born Israel supporters will remain Israel supporters. But again, deeply critical Israel supporters, because I know, and so many other of my friends know, all of this is bad for Israel's long-term health. It's bad for their standing in the region, for their standing in the world, and most importantly for Israel, for their standing with their most important ally, the United States of America.
Why will you remain an Israel supporter? That's what Joe Scarborough just said there. After everything that Israel has done, the genocide and everything, why will you remain a supporter of a state that is committing genocide? Why would you still remain supportive of that? Why? Somebody needs to explain this. He said he was born an Israel supporter and he will remain an Israel supporter, but he'll be critical of them. Why would you continue to support someone who's committing genocide? And no, it's not just about October 7th. It's the whole ideology. We talked about this at Icarus Fest. This goes way back. Why would you continue to support them? See, this, this is something here, and it's corporate media, but not just corporate media, because you're seeing it in some forms of independent media as well. Like I told you, I believe some of these people are paid, but the reality is he is going to remain supportive of Israel so that he can keep that damn job, even though he knows that they are wrong. Joe and Mika are very wealthy. These are rich people. They have a penthouse apartment in New York City, in a city where a lot of people can barely afford to live in a studio apartment. But they're in those circles, you know, they're in those social circles, and they rub elbows with all the important folks, and that's where they want to remain. So you sound like a complete clown and a fool. For someone to sit there and say that, it's just like I don't know. Like, would you say that about Hitler? Would someone sit there and say, yeah, you know, what he's doing is really bad and he's killing all those people and stuff, but I'm still going to be a supporter? Hell no. They are trying their best to save Israel's reputation because they know that it is dead. It is gone. This is what they have been told to do. Save and support Israel. Because like I told you, in my opinion, I believe that Israel is a U.S. military base in the Middle East to make sure that the U.S. still has access to the oil, the resources in that region, and that the other Arab countries don't develop their own system. And we see what happens to the countries that have tried to do this, right? Like Gaddafi tried to do this in Libya and said, hey, maybe we should all the African countries, some of us should just partner together and not rely on the support of the West. What happens? The U.S. says that Gaddafi is killing his own people and we got to take him out. I just keep thinking about how peaceful the Middle East would be without Israel. Like, imagine trying to make people feel sorry for them when they're the ones who are killing all these people. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's right. It was obviously a flashpoint during the 2024 election, but polls since then have shown Americans, both parties, growing less and less, willing to ally themselves with what Israel is doing and support for Israel. And as a final note, Mariam Daga, we mentioned the AP journalist who was killed, her byline just a couple of days ago about the malnourished children being taken to that very hospital. So those are the stories that we wouldn't know otherwise. It's because of work of people like her who were killed yesterday. It's terrible.
Yeah, but you guys said none of this in 2024 when they were killing all those journalists then. You said nothing. In fact, you guys hid a lot of these stories. And now they have the green light to go ahead and cover it. We cannot forget about that, guys. And I'll say this. You know, it has really come to this. How many times can Israel bomb a hospital? How many times can Israel kill, journalists? And nobody holds them accountable. It's just absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And one thing I can say that we got to continue to do is, number one, and everybody hear me on this one, you cannot support any politician that is taking money from the Israeli lobby. None. Nada. Poof. Be gone. None. I don't care if it's AIPAC or if it's J Street, because J Street doesn't want to call it a genocide either. They're just a nicer version of AIPAC, but they don't call it a genocide either. So that's the one thing. Those people, those politicians have got to go. Like, people, we need the AIPAC people out, the Kufi people out, the J Street people out. That's what it's come to, because I don't know what else. This whole thing that's happening, the way that they can just target, and again, I can't show the video on here, but if you look on social media, you can find it very quickly. The way they directly targeted those journalists that were standing on those stairs, that was a direct hit. And they're going around telling people, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. And you know what? Our government knows it wasn't a mistake. And Joe and Mika and corporate media, everybody knows it wasn't a mistake. Everybody knows it was a direct hit if you look at the actual video. So they're just running cover for Israel to save their own ass. And it's disgusting. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.